Hello UK fans, Matt here, and welcome to a deck profile for Majespecter. So this will be an updated one for the Majespecter deck that I'll be using IRL, and I have been using on my channel for I think a week or so. And yeah, it's pretty decent, it works quite consistently, and I enjoy it very much. The side is actually just options that you could go for side, but I will be explaining that later on. I'll also be doing a deck profile in this deck profile for the OCG support and how this will change the deck. So if you're wanting to see the OCG form of this deck that will be using the OCG ban list, will be using the OCG support from Bosch, please click the description link below to skip to that part. Otherwise, I'm going to talk about main deck choices I'm using in this deck, and I'll just go through more or less every card, whereas the OCG one will be just talking about the new cards or changes to the deck that has been made. So without further ado, let's get into the deck profile. So I'm using one Unicorn Kirin, which is being bumped down from 2 as I used to run it, but now it's in 1 because the space is so limited and I don't want to keep dead drawing it. It did eventually become a dead draw in the deck, and yeah, I don't want that anymore, and I've bumped it down to 1. I still love the card though. I still think it has a working environment in this deck. This is pure Majespecters, I should say, and it's not going to be Perform Mage altered and in any sense of that shape or form, because I don't like the Perform Mage build as much. I prefer pure builds in most senses, unless it is a archetype that has a gone of support, and then it has to use the OCG support. As I was first playing Majespecters, I was using Magicians as support, and now the deck has a good frame, so I don't need to use that form even when the Magicians come out in December. So this is what I've now finally accomplished and created IRL, so I'm very happy with that. So yeah, Kirin I still want to keep as one of in the deck. It's a great Pallades and can out a few decks that are based on Exceed and Synchro. It can also out Cosmo if they are now top decking, and they could top deck into Strawman, and then you can bounce back that Strawman, and it will be very funny because Kirin is very good at stopping all those plays, and yeah, I just enjoy him. And yeah, that's why he's still at 1 in the deck. I'm not going to cut him out of the deck at all. Then Triple Fox. Fox is a great card that allows you to search for any Majespecter trap card from your deck. All Majespecters have the generic effect of cannot be targeted or destroyed by opponent's card effects, as everyone knows, or should know in the future. Fox is great, and I will never use her at lower than 3 in the deck unless the ban list hits her, which would be shame. But she's great, she's a good skill too, and searches out my Majespecter trap cards. Always good to combo with Luster Pendulum, and if not that, use it with Nekatama with Luster Pendulum is also good. Then Triple Yatta Garasu, the twin of Yatta Garasu. It's an alright card because it does add your Majespecter spells to your hand except for Majespectus, but in the sense I don't really like the card itself. The artwork is nice. I prefer the different colour for the crow, but I can't play it all the time. But I will be cutting her from my more Bosch based build in the future, so that will be in that part of the video. And yeah, so we have to use her at 3 because it's another name for the deck, and that's always necessary. Then Triple Raccoon Bumbuku. It is a very powerful searcher for the deck. It's Dened for the deck essentially. It adds any Majespecter monster from your deck to your hand, including itself, so it can recruit itself furthermore, which is very nice. But yeah, that's essentially all it does. It's level 3, so it doesn't have as much synergy with like Perform Mage builds unless you use Rise Bell. But yeah, Bumbuku is needed at 3 and staple in that sense. Then Triple Nekatama. I've seen people run it 2, and I prefer it at 3 because Nekatama can search anything Majespecter from your deck to your hand except from Pegasus, because that's not a Majespecter, which is very good. And it also comes with Luster Pendulum nicely and brings a nice defense of 1800 or 2100 if you have your field spell out, which is always good. Plus she's a super rare, and she does look good compared to Crow, which is a common. Then we've got Triple Luster Pendulum, and we're on to the non-Majespecter cards. in the monster variety. And I'm using Triple Dust of the Pendulum to destroy my scales of Kyubi or Nekudama and recruit another one and make a perfect scale that doesn't hinder my summons, which is always good. It gives some synergy with the 4-mage Majespecter build, but I prefer it just for this sense. It also gives me an out to Cosmo, as it can bring out Ignista quite effectively. So that's always good in that sense. Then one attribute centric. I am not rich, I can't afford 3 of them, but I probably wouldn't run at 3 or 2 even. I just like it as a one-off. It's like an MST mixed with Exiled Force, which is very nice. She's a nice secret rare too. The actual framing of the card is quite good. You just put them on the side and then sneak it in pictures. It's like, what the hell? I'm rambling now, but Centric Archfiend is a very good card. Gives you a scale 7, so you can pendulum summon that unicorn, but it's not going to be commonly used for that. It's mainly to MST your opponent and can shut down quite a lot of floodgates, except the anti-spell fragrance, which is a problem for this deck, which I do have a specific side for. Then 2 Veiler, because I feel the deck was lacking in effect negation. Yeah, that doesn't make sense for Majespecter, but it really did. And Veiler is a great way of getting around this. It also gives you access to further synchro plays. It also means you can sync with Bumbuku and a Crow and make an Ignista in that sense, because Ignista requires any tuner, regardless if it's pendulum or not. So effectively you can get it in that way, and it can also give me access to Trishula, which is one of my favourite cards to use in this current format. Then 1 Regeki, because these little guys can't get over much. It also outs untargetable cards like Yazi, which I've played against quite a few times, and Regeki'd, and been happy about that because it's going to be hard to get rid of except for going in Ignista, and if Cyframes bring it out, Regeki is the best way of getting that out. Then onto the Majespecter spells, we have 1 Storm. I'm thinking of cutting this in my build because it's not quick play, although I do love its targeting and shuffling it into the deck. It may be bumped down for another chicken race, just to increase the speed. And then 1 Cyclone. I don't run it at more than 1 because I don't really need it at more than 1. In this build, it's more consistency over viciousness, so Cyclone doesn't really need to be at more than 1. It's searchable through Crow, and can destroy a lot of monsters and problematic cards. Although destruction isn't the best thing in this current format, it is a quick play spell, so it can shut down rogue decks like Black Wings, where they need that monster on board to do their further plays. Then we have Triple Pegasus. I prefer Triple Pegasus over Double Pegasus and Triple Terraforming because it's just in my mind, I want to know I have more Pegasus in the deck than having several Terraformings that are going to be dead, whereas I'd rather have dead Pegasus because you never know when that's going to get MST'd or banished. So Pegasus can then recruit all things. It increases all Majespecters by 300 attack and defense. This can stack with another Majespecter Pegasus on the field. So in mirror matches, this makes Nekatama's defense 2400, so that's quite nice. And if they're not running Kirin in their deck, you've got 2600 Bia, which can bounce back anything, which is very, very vicious. And it's also got the good effect of tributing 1 Wind Spellcaster. Doesn't have to be a Majespecter, so I'll go into that further on the side deck area. And it can recruit a special summon out a Majespecter that's level 4 or lower from your deck, which is very good, because it can summon out any of those little guys that we really, really need. So always opening up with Pegasus and Bumbuku is pretty much your favourite play, because it just gives you a search and then it gives you a special summon of probably Fox or Nekotama, depending on the sense of the danger. So that's always good. Or going for Pegasus to tribute the Fox, and going to Bumbuku is also an alright play as well. So yeah, I do love Pegasus and I love my access. Then we have Chicken Game and Triple Upstart, so I'll go into Terraforming in a second. Well, Terraforming, we all know what Terraforming does, it's just a search does. But also the Chicken Game Upstart engine, which is being cut down slightly, but I may be bumping chicken game back up to 2. This is my friend Declan's idea, Leeds regional champion, and he suggested this, and it does work quite effectively, gives it a nice turbo edge for the deck, and speeds it up very effectively, giving more consistency, even though the deck does have a lot of consistency with a lot of search. It needs more consistency for searching out your key cards like Bumbuku, Nekutama, or your Pegasus. So this speed-based engine with terraformings does work very good indeed. So thanks to him, and basically a shout out to him. And then 2 MSTs, because I did have problems with back row or stuff like that, and MST does out this. I really do need MSTs in the deck, and I fear that if I just side them, I'm going to come up against something annoying like skill drain in a game 1, and then game 2 I won't have my MST at the time when I need it. So I'd rather have it in from game 1 onwards and keep that strength there. Then we go on to Majespecter spells and trap cards, which are 2 Tornado. I don't see good being run at 3 because that's a bit overkill. It does out stuff like El Shaddoll Winder, or who's playing Shaddolls in this format, but yeah, Tornado is good to out cards that gain effects on destruction or banish very problematic monsters that you just don't want to go against. So Tornado can out those problems. And then we have Triple Tempest, the best card of the deck, negating any inherent summon or any effect of a monster, which is very good counter trap and very vicious in the mirror match, because this is your MVP, because you really want to negate their summons. Then 1 Storming Mirror Force. This is basically for Cosmo. Cosmo is a problematic deck, and using Storming Mirror Force in the main deck gives you a little bit more edge to it. You could use Imperial Iron Wall as maybe as a main deck card, but Storming Mirror Force is more generic and can also out-exceed decks, and also Kaijus as well when they happen. Then 1 Stolen Warning, because I thought 3 Proto Stolen Warnings wasn't enough, so I went for another one. I do like the extra Stolen Warning. It has come in handy quite a lot, and it's quite staple in this format, so yeah. So that's basically the main deck, and onto the extra deck. There's 1 Totem Bird, because Totem Bird is quite good. It's a Lagia, well, Dolka or Lagia, I can't remember which one it is, and it's very good for negating spells and traps. And I don't really go into my extra deck much except for the Synchrocyde. Synchrocyde is more common, but you can bring it out with Bumbuku and Nekutama, and that's quite good for when you're reusing stuff that you already have an extra copy of. So bringing out that Totem Bird can be very defensive play. And then 1 Acid Golem of Destruction, in case they flip down the skill drain and you have nothing else, you can bring out Acid Golem of Destruction and bring out 3000 beta to beat them down with. Hopefully not against Cradle there. Then 1 Ptolemaeus going into Diamond, not bringing out Pallades in this deck because I'd rather not. This is only for an out for like dark rogue decks I should say, because most of them are not going to be problematic because Shaddol's dead, and Evil Swarm can technically be problematic with massive amount of back row, access to floodgates, and stopping Kieran, so you can out him that way as well. So yeah, Ptolemaeus in there just basically for that. Then 1 Gaga Cowboy. I've had a lot of times when I wanted this Cowboy in, so I did put in. These are mainly utility cards that you'll be bringing out. You won't use your extra deck much of anything, except from Ignista and Trishula. So Cowboy's there for basic beatdown. Then Abyss Dweller for Burning Abyss matchups and Gradle matchups when you have skill drain, but that doesn't really work. So why didn't I just mention that? Oh my god. But Abyss Dweller is dangerous against a lot of BA decks and can also work against Perform Mage. Emerald to shuffle back dead Majespecters in your graveyard that have been negated the summon, so that's always good rank 4. Then Majespecter Paladin, I don't usually go into this, but you can OTK with Paladin and Ignista, which is very good, and you need it as a one-off in case you have a problematic hand and need to search out a Bumbuku or a Luster Pendulum. Then 1 Lightning Chidori, I've gone into this once or twice which is a good card. I brought it out against some Cosmo actually because I wanted to slow down their speed, so I bounced back their town and bounced back a face down, which was Vanity Temptress, which was funny. But yeah, Lightning Chidori is very good access. If you have access to this card, bring it out, or at least have it in your deck for when you need it. Then 1 Diamond Dyer because it can out Floodgates, and that's always good. 1 Castell because it can out Floodgates, and it can also out Cosmo Town, which is very good as well. And Diamond, as I already mentioned. Then 1 Arcanite Magician because I'm testing this card out. I may bump it out of the deck for maybe like Chimeritic Fortress Dragon, which I'll go through in a bit. But Arcanite Magician can be very dangerous since most of your things are spellcasters, and the way you bring it out is with 1 Veiler, Nekotama, and Abumbuku, and then you can bring out a monster with 2 spell counters, so 2 MSTs there, most likely, destroy their scale, and hopefully gain control in that sense with an 1800 defensive monster. Then 2 Ignista, MVP of the extra deck, because Ignista is amazing in this format. You can bring it out a little bit more easily with Veilers, as well as your Luster Pendulums in the deck. So that's always good. It can out Cosmo. It's the main out for Cosmo because it doesn't target for its shuffle back effect, which is very good and very what this deck needs. And then 1 Trishula because I love Trish and might as well use it. So 1 Veiler to work with the 2 Veilers to work with Trishula, and that's also an out for Cosmo as well. Onto the possible side deck cards I'm testing out at the present moment. There is 1 missing, which I will go through in the Confronting the Meta Majespecter video, which will be out probably next week, because I want to keep that tech a secret for now. So yeah, onto these ones. We have Trap Eater. This is to out Anti-Spell Fragrance, but can't out Poisonous Wind, although Poisonous Wind is out by MST. Trap Eater can out something like Anti-Spell Fragrance or Sideframe Overload or something like that. That can be very unexpected, not to mention it's a tuner, and it works for getting your Ignista Prominence out without the Dracula Slayer. Fortune Lady Wind is another option, which is an MST, not to mention it has synergy with Pegasus since it's a wind spellcaster. Max C, because it's the format where Max C is divine, and we all need to use Max C. If you're not going to run any of these side deck cards, except a few of them, just run triple Max C and it's just so great. Then Cyber Dragon Dre and Chimeritic Fortress Dragon. I went for Cyber Dragon Dre over Cyber Dragon itself because special summoning you're going to be there's a lot of sides for inherent special summoning negation. So Cyber Dragon Dre as a normal summon is very vicious, and therefore can work with Chimeritic Fortress Dragon against a Cosmo matchup, or possibly Klee if it's problematic. I don't think it does work against Klee, but it does work against Cosmo, definitely. No towers, but you may find someone with Skybase, you never know. Then Mistaken Arrest. If you do find a deck that's searching a lot, you may want to use Mistaken Arrest in your side deck as a way of pseudo stopping them. You can't run Mistake, but you can run Mistaken Arrest. Then Wavering Eyes. Wavering Eyes is a great card for this format, and is essential in any Pendulum deck side deck, or Pendulum deck main deck, if the Magicians do take off, as we all predict they will in December. This will probably be bumped into the main deck, probably taking out maybe the MSTs, or maybe one of the Terraforming, may take out an Upstart. Something will be moved around to put in probably a playset of Wavering Eyes and moved into the side deck. So yeah, that's always a possibility that the Pendulum era will come as a problematic thing for the TCG, even though Cyber Dragon Infinity and Traptrix Rafflesia and Shockmaster are not available for us right now. So triple Wavering Eyes is probably going to be option. Another Stormy Mirror Force, just in case Cosmo is that problematic for you and you don't want to use the other options. Imperial Owl to out Cosmo, Ritual Beast, Infernoid, possibly Necros as well. It can out a lot of things. The zombie deck as well, if we're Shiranuis, that could be outed with Imperial Owl. So it's a great floodgate to run in the deck. Light Imprisoning Mirror for Cosmo and Tellarknights because they didn't get hit enough. Wearing Horn of Heaven for Inherent Special Summoning, also for the Mirror Match because that can negate summons of Inherentness, which is always good. Inherentness is not actually a term, but I just used it. Then one Chaos Trapple to negate the summon of maybe a Cosmo monster, or Denko Seko, which is a problematic card. However, Cyclone is a thing, and that's your way around it, technically in that sense. And Chivalry, Cosmo again, and Honest. Then Cashback is a weird card that I will be talking about in a discussion video later on in the week, hopefully, or next week, which is also an app for Cosmo. I'll go into that more detail in that video. Then Debunk, which is good against Cyframe, and Mermail, which is very good and probably be more common in the format, but I'm not using that currently. The main uses I'm using right now are Cashback, Chivalry. Haven't tested Chaos Trapple or Great Horn as much yet, but I probably will be using them. Imperial Iron Wall, Storm Mirror Force, and Waving Eyes. May try this, Stray, and Maxi. And then either Trapita or Fortune Lady Wind. Something along those lines will be made out of the side deck. So yeah, those are my options right now. I haven't actually determined which I'm going to put in. So yeah, I just want to get this video up quite fast as I can because I've had a few requests and it's been a bit outdated now. So going on to the OCG side of things, we have the changes that I probably will be making for the future. So I'll be dropping Pro from my format of this deck for triple Gamma, which is Majespecter Toad. This gets around Mistake because Mistake is a problem for the deck. You can set a Majespecter spell and trap directly from your deck. You can't activate that turn, which is very vicious. It's an extra Fox for the deck, which is a lot better. It's a scale 5, which means it can replace Crow entirely because you don't need it in that sense. You don't really want to search that many spells and traps, whereas you have Gamma and search 2 Tempests. That would be a lot better, but Gamma's quite good in that sense. Plus it's 1300. It's 1300 and that's stronger than a Crow, and it's level 4 as well, so it's still there. Everything else stays the same. I may drop Infect Veilers for Solemn Notice, but I don't want to run it Solemn Notice just yet until I see how bad it will hurt the format. Everyone will probably be running Solemn Notice at 3 except for Monarchs, because Monarchs already have too much good stuff in their deck. Then the other changes, will be dropping Storm from the deck to run 2 Sonics. Maybe dropping something else. I think Storm and Mirror Force went aside in this sense, because I think Sonic is an underrated spell card for Majespecter. It makes them double their current attack points, which if you have Pegasus on board, it means Gamma is going to be 3200, and that is very powerful. It's a quick play spell, and yeah, it can more or less solve the problem of the deck where it can't run over big monsters that can't be targeted. Therefore, Sonic is better in that sense and should be used. I haven't figured out where I'm going to put Supercell in the deck. I tried it out, but it didn't really do much, and it's not likely I'd ever use the second effect. It's based because the second effect is basically what's that Tellarknight called? Tellarknight. Sirius. It would be basically like Sirius for the deck, and yeah, I probably won't be using that effect much. I will be still siding Storm Mirror Force though. And changes from the extra deck, I'll be dropping Ptolemaeus and Diamond because they're only in there technically for filler, and replacing them with 2 Dynastar Powerful. I also run 101, but I'm probably going to drop that anyway. But Dynastar Powerful is a very powerful fusion monster, which allows you to protect your scales from being destroyed by battle or card effects, even though they can't be destroyed by battle, but it also means the pendulum monsters, not that they need that protection for card effects, but they do get protection from battle, which is another problem that they unfortunately face. Therefore, Dynastar Powerful is a very powerful card, but it can be targeted, therefore it does have a weakness in that sense in this deck. It also can resurrect your Dracoslayers from your graveyard, which is very powerful because if they get Solemn Noticed, then you basically lose them, whereas Dynastar Powerful reborns them and you gain a lot plus from that. And just to talk about quickly the 2 other XCs that come out in Bosch and why I'm not going to be running them in the future. Treacherous Rafflesia, mainly because I don't have space to run Bottomless Trap Hole and Treacherous Trap Hole, therefore I don't really think I need Rafflesia in this deck. And Infinity is also going to be taking up too much space and I want to keep some like other problematic out cards. If I were to run something that had the effect of Quasar, I would run Odd-Eyes Fusion with Odd-Eyes Vortex Dragon, Oversized Dragon Infinity technically, because I don't really want to be exceeding with my little Raccoon and my little Gamma and Fox, which will be the main ones I will be doing it with. So yeah, I hope you enjoy this deck profile. I apologize how late it is coming up, because it was supposed to be out 2 weeks ago, but then the ban list changed and everything had to be changed. I lost Exciton from this extra deck. Not that I'd be using it much anyway. Not that I ever used it much, but it's a very good deck. I do enjoy it. I tested it out yesterday and went 4-0, but then again, it wasn't a proper test in that sense. Or main problem was side frame. So yeah, this deck is very nice and I enjoy it a lot, and hope you guys enjoy it too. So thank you for watching. Please leave your comments below if you guys just for the deck or suggest for my channel in general, and please like, subscribe if you enjoyed this and want to see further content. Matt Durant signing out.